So we come to the practical wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, the 24th session. And the 24th session is, of course, a special session because it deals with one of the interesting chapters of the Gita, which we have not dealt with so far. It's called the Vishwarupa Darshan, and the English is the cosmic form. And just to give you a bird's eye view of how we have progressed, we've done, our overall plan is now 93, and of course we did about 25, 30 shlokas additionally for Samabuddhi and Buddhi Yoga. So we've covered around 150 shlokas, I would say, but these are all thematic in their nature and not sequential in their nature. So traditionally, the 11th chapter is done when one is studying the Bhagavad Gita. It is done at the end, because while the 18th chapter is a logical sequential conclusion, from the bhakti perspective, the 11th chapter is understood when you complete the entire Gita other than the 11th and do the 11th towards the end. So therefore, of course, for our particular purpose, we have chosen about 9 shlokas. Actually 8, but I've added one more, 11.32. And there are 9 shlokas that we will look at in detail. And of course, the cosmic form itself is described between the 10th and the 48th shloka in great detail. Now, I thought we would do one thing, because so far the chanting that we have done has always been in bits and pieces in terms of the shlokas being thematically from under one head, but obviously from different chapters. So here is a very traditional sort of imagery that one finds in the Indian tradition of the 11th chapter, the Vishwarupa Darshan. But I thought that it would be appropriate for me to chant the entire 11th chapter. It takes about 10 minutes, 9 minutes, 43 seconds. I timed it. Yeah, I think it will be good for us because it is very auspicious to chant it. And it's also, I think, one last occasion, at least as far as the Bhagavad Gita is concerned in this format, for us to listen to the chant itself. So with your permission, I will actually commence the chant, and then of course we can do the 8 shlokas in the pattern that we have been following for the other sessions. So here I go, and of course, if you do have the Bhagavad Gita with you and you can follow the Sanskrit part of it, it's great. But then otherwise you can simply listen to the chant, and then we can proceed with the key shlokas under the chant. So here I go. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Ekadashodhyayah. Arjuna Uvacha. Mad Anugrahaya Paramam Guhyam Adhyatma Sangitam. Yatvayoktam Vachastena Moho Yam Vigato Mama. Bhavapyau hi bhutanam shrutau vistarasho maya. Tvattah kamala patraksha mahatmyamapi chavyayam. Evam etad yathatha tvatmanam parameshwaram. Drishtumichhami te rupam aishwaram purushottamaham. Manyase yadi tachakya maya drishtumiti prabho. Yogeshwara tato me tvam darshayatmanam avyayam. Shri Bhagavan uvacha. पश्य मे पार्थ रूपाणि शतशोत्तर सहस्रशः नाना विधानि दिव्यानि नाना वर्णाकृतीनि च पश्यादित्यान् वसून् रुद्रान् अश्विनौ मरुतस्तथा बहून्यदृष्ट पूर्वाणि पश्याश्चर्याणि भारत इहैकस्तं जगत्कृत्स्नं पश्याद्य सचराचरं मम देहे गुडाकेश यच्चान्यद् द्रष्टुमिच्छसि न तु मां शक्यसे दृष्टुम अनेनैव सचक्षुषा दिव्यं ददामि ते चक्षु पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम्. संजय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा ततो राजन् महायोगेश्वरो हरिः दर्शयामास पार्थाय परं रूपमैश्वरम्. अनेकवक्त्रनयनम् अनेकाद्भुतदर्शनम् अनेक अनेक वक्त्र नयनम अनेकाद्भुत दर्शनम अनेक दिव्याभरणम दिव्यानेकोद्यतायुधम दिव्यमाल्याम्बरधरम दिव्यगंधानुलेपनम सर्वाश्चर्यमयं देवम अनंतम विश्वतोमुखम दिवि सूर्य सहस्रस्य भवेद्युगपदुत्थितः यदि भासदृशी सा स्यात् भासस्तस्य महात्मनः तत्रैकस्थं जगत्कृत्स्नं प्रविभक्तम् अनेकधा अपश्य देव देवस्य शरीरे पाण्डवस्तदा ततः स विस्मयाविष्टो हृष्टरोमा धनञ्जयः प्रणम्य शिरसा देवं कृताञ्जलिरभाषत। अर्जुन उवाच पश्यामि देवांस्तव देहदेहे सर्वांस्तथा भूतविशेषसङ्गान् ब्रह्माणमीशं कमलासनस्थं ऋषींश्च सर्वान् पुरगांश्च दिव्यान् अनेकबाहूदरवक्त्रनेत्रं पश्यामि त्वां दीप्तमन्तरूपं न अन्तं न मध्यं न पुनस्तवादिं पश्यामि विश्वेश्वर विश्वरूप किरीटिनं गदिनं चक्रिणं च तेजोराशिं सर्वतो दीप्तमन्तं पश्यामि त्वां दुर्निरीक्ष्यं समन्ताद् दीप्तानलार्कद्युतिमप्रमेयं त्वमक्षरं परमं वेदितव्यं त्वमस्य विश्वस्य परं निधानं त्वमव्ययः शाश्वतधर्मगोप्ता सनातनस्त्वं पुरुषो मतो मे अनादिमध्यान्तरन्तवीर्यमनन्तबाहुं शशिसूर्यनेत्रं पश्यामि त्वां दीप्तहुसा हुताशवक्त्रं स्वतेजसा विश्वमिदं तपन्तं द्यावा पृथिवी यो हृदमन्तरं हि व्याप्तं त्वयैकेन दिशश्च सर्वा दृष्ट्वाद्भुतं रूपमुग्रं तवेदं लोकत्रयं प्रव्यथितं महात्मन् अमीहि त्वां सुरसङ्घा विशन्ति केचित् भीतः प्राञ्जलयो गृह्णन्ति स्वस्तीत्युक्त्वा महर्षि सिद्धसङ्गा स्तुवन्ति त्वां स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभिः रुद्रादित्या वसवो ये च साध्या विश्वेश्विनो मरुतश्चोष्णपाश्च गन्धर्वयक्षा सुरसिद्धसङ्गा वीक्षन्ते त्वां विस्मिताश्चैव सर्वे रूपं महत्ते बहुवक्त्रनेत्रं महाबाहु बहुबाहुरूपादं बहुधरं बहुदंष्ट्राकरालं दृष्ट्वा लोका प्रव्यथितं तथाहं नभस्पृशं दीप्त अनेकवर्णं व्यात्ताननं दीप्तविशालनेत्रं दृष्ट्वा हि त्वां प्रव्यथितान्तरात्मा धृतिं न विन्दामि शमं च विष्णो दंष्ट्राकरालानि च ते मुखानि दृष्ट्वैव काला न सन्निभानि दिशो न जाने न लभे न शर्म प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास अमिच्छ त्वां राष्ट्रस्य पुत्राः सर्वे सहैवा मणिपालसङ्घैः भीष्मो द्रोणसूतपुत्रस्तथासौ सहास्मि दीयेरपि योद्धमुख्यै वक्त्राणि ते त्वरमाणा विशन्ति दंष्ट्राकरालानि भयानकानि केचिद्विलग्ना दशनान्तरेषु सन्दृश्यन्ते चूर्णितैरुत्तमाङ्गैः यथा नदीनां बहवोऽम्बुवेगाः समुद्रमेवाभिमुखा द्रवन्ति तथा तवामि नवलोकवीरा विशन्ति वक्त्राण्य अभिज्वलन्ति यथा प्रदीप्तं ज्वलनं पतंगा विशन्ति नाशाय समुद्रवेगाः तथैव नाशाय विशन्ति लोकास्त्वापि वक्त्राणि समुद्रवेगाः लेलिह्यसे ग्रसमानः समन्ताल्लोकान् समग्रान् वदने ज्वलद्भिः तेजोभिरापूर्य जगत्समग्रभासस्तवोग्रा प्रतपन्ति विष्णो आख्याहि मे को भवानुग्ररूपो नमोऽस्तु ते देववर प्रसीद विज्ञातुमिच्छामि भवन्तमाद्यं न हि प्रजानामि तव प्रवृत्तिं। श्री भगवान् उवाच कालोऽस्मि लोकक्षयकृत् प्रवृद्धो लोकान् समाहर्तुमिह प्रवृत्त ऋतेऽपि त्वां न भविष्यन्ति सर्वे ये वस्थिता प्रत्यनीकेषु योद्धा तस्मात् त्वम् उत्तिष्ठ यशो लभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धं मयैवैते निहता पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन् द्रोणं च भीष्मं च जयद्रथं च कर्णं तथान्यापि योद्धवीरान् मया हतास्त्वं जहिमा व्यथिष्ठा युध्यस्य जेता रणे सपत्नान्। संजय उवाच एतत् श्रुत्वा वचनं केशवस्य कृताञ्जलिर्वेपमानः किरीटी नमस्कृत्वा भूय एवाह कृष्णं स गद्गदं भीत प्रणम्य अर्जुन उवाच स्थाने ऋषिकेश तव प्रकृत्या जगत्प्रहृष्यत् अनुज्यते च रक्षांसि भीतानि दिशो द्रवन्ति सर्वे नमस्यन्ति च सिद्धसङ्गाः कस्माच्च ते न मेरन्महात्मन् गरीयसे ब्रह्मणोऽप्यादिकर्त्रे अनन्तदेवेश जगन्निवास त्वमक्षरं सदसत्तत्परं यत् त्वमादिदेव पुरुष पुराण स्वमस्य विश्वस्य परम निधानम वेत्तासि वेद्यं च परम च धाम त्वया ततं विश्वमनंत रूप वायुर्यमोऽग्निर्वरुणः शशाङ्कः प्रजापतिस्त्वं प्रपितामहश्च नमो नमस्ते सुसहस्रकृत्व पुनश्च भूयोऽपि नमो नमस्ते नमः पुरस्तादथ पृष्ठतस्ते नमोऽस्तु ते सर्वत एव सर्व अनंत वीर्यामित विक्रमस्त्वं सर्वं समाप्नोषि ततोऽसि सर्वः सखेति मत्वा प्रसभं यदुक्तं हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति अजानता महिमानत्वेदं मया प्रसादात् प्रणयेन वापि यच्चावहासार्थमत्कृतोऽसि विहारशय्या सनभोजनेषु एकोत्थ वाप्यच्युत तत्समक्षं तत्क्षामये त्वामहम् अप्रमेयं पितासि लोकस्य चराचरस्य त्वमस्य पूज्यश्च गुरुर्गरीयान् न त्वत्समोऽस्त्यभ्यधिककुतोऽन्यो लोकत्रयेऽप्य प्रतिमप्रभाव तस्मात् प्रणम्य प्रणिधाय कायं प्रसादये त्वामहमीशमीड्यं पितेव पुत्रस्य सखेव सख्यु प्रिय प्रियार्हारसि देव सोढुम् अदृष्टपूर्वं हृषितोऽस्मि दृष्ट्वा भयेन च प्रव्यथितं मनो मे तदेव मे दर्शयद्देव रूपं प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास किरीटिनं गदिनं चक्रहस्तम् इच्छामि त्वां दृष्टुमहं तथैव तेनैव रूपेण चतुर्भुजेन सहस्रभावो भव विश्वमूर्ते श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्या प्रसन्नेन तवार्जुनेदं रूपं परं दर्शितमात्मयोगात् तेजोमयं विश्वमन्तमाद्यं यन्मे त्वदन्येन न दृष्टपूर्वं न वेदेन यज्ञाध्ययनेन दानेन च क्रियाभिर्न तपोभिरुग्रैः एवं रूप शक्य अहं नृलोके द्रष्टुं त्वदन्येव कुरु प्रवीर माथे व्यथा मा च विमूढभावो दृष्ट्वा रूपं घोरमीदृङ्ममेदं व्यपेतभिप्रीतमाना पुनस्त्वं तदेव मे रूपमिदं प्रपश्य संजय उवाच इत्यर्जुनं वासुदेवत्थोक्त्वा स्वकं रूपं दर्शयामास भूय आश्वासयामास च भीतमेन भूत्वा पुनः सौम्य वपुर्महात्मा अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेजं मानुषं रूपं तव सौम्यं जनार्दन इदानीमस्मि समृद्धः सचेता प्रकृतं गतः श्रीभगवानुवाच सुदुर्दर्शमिदं रूपं दृष्टमानसि यन्मम देवा अप्यस्य रूपस्य नित्यं दर्शिनकाङ्क्षिणः नाहं वैदैर्न तपसा न दानेन न चेज्जया शक्य एवं विदो दृष्टुं दृष्टमानसि मम भक्त्या त्वनन्यया शक्य अहम् एवं विदोऽर्जुनः ज्ञातुं दृष्टुं च तत्त्वेन प्रवेष्टुं च परन्तपः मत्कर्म कृन् मत्परमो मद्भक्तसङ्गवर्जितः निर्वैरः सर्वभूतेषु यः स मामेति पाण्डव ओम तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवादे विश्वरूप दर्शन योगो नाम एकादशोऽध्यायः हरि ओम तत्सत् हरि ओम तत्सत् हरि ओम तत्सत्. This is actually one of the longer adhyayas of the Gita. It's got 55 shlokas, which is why it takes 10 minutes. So thank you so much for your patience. And now we look at the individual shlokas. So we said that we would start with 11.3 and 11.4. So 11.3 is Evam Yathatha Tamatmam Parameshwara Drishtum Ichchami Te Rupam Aishwaram Purushottama. That's a shloka. So the Anvaya is Hey Parameshwar, Tvam Atmanam Yatha Atha Etat Evam, which means that in the previous chapters, that is the 7th chapter, the 8th chapter, the 9th chapter, and 10th chapter, the Lord made a lot of explanations, revealed a lot of mysteries, explained a lot of things. So what Arjuna says here is, Tvam Atmanam, that is what you, Atmanam, about yourself, Yatha, Atha, whatever you told about yourself, Etat Evam. It is correct. So I have no reason to disbelieve what you have told me in chapters 7, 8, 9, and 10. So what you said is an absolute statement of fact, but it is only knowledge, it is not, it is jnana for me, it is not vijnana in the sense, I have not experienced all the wonderful things that you told about. And therefore he says, He Purushottama, te aishwaram rupam drishtum ichhami. Drishtum ichhami, dekhna ichhami, chahta hu. So I want to see your aishwaram. Aishwaram is divine rupam, form and body. So see, whatever you've told me in terms of the ideas, in terms of the mystery, Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam, that's the name of the 9th chapter. Then you have Vibhuti Yoga, the name of the 10th chapter. Then you have Akshara Brahma Yoga, which is the name of the 8th chapter. And then you have Jnana Vijnana Yoga, which is the name of the 7th chapter. So all these interesting things have been told, but I desire to see it in a little more practical form. Therefore, Arjuna says, I desire to see your divine form and body, O Purushottama. Okay, so that is, so this is where the question leading to the 11th chapter is being laid. As you know, the first few shlokas of every chapter lead to the question behind the chapter or the theme behind the chapter. So the Vishwarupa Darshan, which is the name of the chapter itself, that is being very clearly indicated here. Rupam Drishtum, Vishwarupa Darsham, Rupam Drishtum Ichhami. Ichhami is a very, very simple, straightforward usage, Khadami, we keep saying, Kridami. So it is Arjuna as what is called Uttama Purusha, where he is in his first name basis, first principle basis, that he says Drishtum. So that is 11.3. Then 11.4 is again a continuation of this. So he says, Manyase yedi tacchakyam maya drishtumati prabho yogeshwara tato me tvam darshayatmanam avviyam. So he has made a request in the previous shloka. Now he says, Hey Prabhu, maya tat drishtum shakyam yedi tvam manyase. Yada maya tat, mere dwara, tat, that is that form. Drishtum, to see, shakyam, possible, iti yadi tvam manyase, if you think. It's actually a straightforward sentence. Maya tat drishtum shakyam idi tvam manyase. If you think it is possible for me to see this entire practical side of all that you taught me in 7, 8, and 9, and 10, tataha. So therefore, then, Hey Yogeshwar, Avyayam Atmanam me darshaya. Darshaya is an imperative form, dikhavo. So what does he ask? He simply says, Avyayam, your imperishable, Atmanam, your deeper self, your inner self, mujhe dikhao. So 11.3 and 11.4 are the requests made by Arjuna to Krishna to practically demonstrate all that he has taught Arjuna in 7, 8, 9, and 10. So 7, 8, 9, 10 are 4 chapters. So the 4th chapter is to be practicalized, if I can use that phrase, through these 2 questions or Arjuna. And of course, there is a lot that Sanjay says in between. But here I'm going to 11.12, of course, the description has already begun. So first, the description is from Sanjay. And then Arjuna takes over the description. Then Arjuna says, I'm not able to understand your background. Then the Lord enters in and, he says, Kaloham, I am, Kala. In fact, we'll be talking about that particular shloka next. And then again, Arjuna starts praising. And then, so there is this constant movement between Sanjay, Lord Krishna, Arjuna, Sanjay, Lord Krishna that we have in this shloka. And you would also find that the shlokas are not actually shlokas. I'm using them in the sense of verses, because they are in the they are not in the Anushtup Chanda, they are in the Trishtup Chanda, which means that they have 11 syllables per quarter, which means 11 into 2, 22 syllables per line and 44 syllables overall. So slightly longer in their entire presentation. So, sorry, I think I jumped. Now this is one of the descriptions that we have from Sanjay before he hands over, or he doesn't hand over, he starts explaining to Dhritarashtra how Arjuna is reacting to the vision. Now, this particular shloka is very famous because if you recall, I had mentioned last that we're going to have a little bit of nuclear engineering. Now, when I mean nuclear engineering, I mean that, in the Manhattan Project in 1944, when the first experimental atomic blast was created, then Dr. Robert Oppenheimer, the physicist, and you would of course recall this from our school physics, if not even first year physics at college, that he was the person responsible for the entire pilot blast. And he was also a student of Sanskrit. So he quoted 11:12 and 11:32, which is going to be next, which I've added. So Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhave Yugpaduttita Yadi Bha Sadashi Sastyat Bhasas Tasya Mahatman. Of course, here Sanjay's description is Yadi Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bha Yugapad Uttita Syat Sa Tasya Mahatmana Bhasa Sadashi Bhavet. So he says that if 1,000 suns were suddenly to collect in heaven, the light from those 1,000 suns, at once it will look as though 1,000 suns have risen once at one time. Then that's the picture that he conjures up for the radiance of the Vishwarupa Darshan that he gives. Okay. But Dr. Robert Oppenheimer took this particular description of the light of 1,000 suns to be the description of the, it's called the mushroom blast, if you recall. It just goes up like a mushroom cloud, and there is a flash of light, which is very, very, in fact, the observatories are all situated at least 5 miles away, because if you're anywhere nearby, the eyes get blinded. And of course, you have to watch through special, goggles. And therefore, this is the shloka that he quoted from the Bhagavad Gita to describe the light of the first atom blast. And further, he also said, given the destructive power of the atom blast, he quoted this next shloka, which is, of course, in the flow of the chapter. It is Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Kalo Asmi Loka Kshayakat Prabuddho Lokan Samartumeha Pravritta Ritepi Twamna Bhavishyanti Sarve Pyastita Pratnai Keshu Yodha. So, Loka Kshayakat Prabuddha. So, I am the destroyer of the world. I am Prabuddha, I am huge. So, looking at the height of the mushroom cloud, he said, Prabuddha, it is huge, Kalaha. So I am death, Lok, and I'm here to destroy the world, Lokan. So Lokan is the world. Of course, the description is in the flow of the chapter. It is because Arjuna is not able to understand why there are so many difficult images to digest, because he sees that there is a consumption of human beings that the Lord in the form of Yama is undertaking, and therefore he says, please explain to me who you are. And the Lord explains that he is Kala, because Kala is something that will consume everybody at the end of the day. And this was also the second description that Dr. Robert Oppenheimer gave. So though not directly nuclear engineering, yet it deals with the consequences of nuclear engineering, which is in terms of the light that is revealed in the previous shloka, and in terms of the destructive power of the atom bomb. And of course, there have been numerous developments after that very, very elementary blast that took place way back in 1944 in the Manhattan Project. So very, very interesting descriptions, which are almost as though we knew, because to conceive of 1,000 suns rising at one time in heaven is something which is either fantastic imagination or something that could also have been based on some real-time empirical knowledge. We don't know. But anyway, I think Dr. Robert Oppenheimer did the right thing, and one must compliment his knowledge of the Gita in depth to have quoted these two chapters. As one must compliment the knowledge of Dr. Abdul Kalam, our president, when he was asked what is the name that needs to be given to a particular missile, he said Vajra, because Ayudhanam Vajro Asmi is there in the 10th chapter. Among the implements, among the firepower, I am Vajra, which is thunderbolt, and that was the name that. So he was also one. Of course, he was a physicist. He was a specialist when it came to missile materials and rocketry, and therefore one finds that physicists are also deeply interested in some of the concepts that they find here in the Bhagavad Gita. So that is 11.32. Now in 11.38, we simply have a description.
It's 12 o'clock.
That Arjuna bursts into because he's seeing something wonderful. So he says, Tvam Adi Deva, you are the first and original Godhead. Purana Purusha, you are the ancient Purusha. Cha Tvam Asya Vishwasya Param Nidhanam. You are the resting place of this entire universe. So when the universe collapses, it will collapse into you. Vetacha Vedyam, you are the knower and you are whatever is to be known. Param Dhama, highest status. He Ananta Rupa, you got infinite forms. Tvaya Vishwam Tatam, so the whole universe is your extension. So you are at the core of the universe and you are the extension, and that is that's the impression that Arjuna got. That's the feeling that was created, because of course I have not chosen that particular shloka where Lord Krishna says, Divyam Dadami Chakshu, I give you divine eyes, because Mamsa Chakku, flesh eyes, will not be able to understand, appreciate, and see this. So that is the reason why he's able to see all these very interesting details which are there in front of us in terms of the shloka. Now 11.45, again another description. So you see the entire chapter is full of descriptions only. So Adrishta Purvam Drishtva Hrishitaha. So that never was seen before. Adrishta Purvam, pehle kabhi nahi dekha. Adrishtva, having seen. Krishitaha. So these are explaining the feelings of Arjuna. Krishitaha asmi, I'm very happy. Bhayenacha, but there's a lot of fear in me. Me manah pravyatitam, so my mind is troubled. Hey Dev, tatak rupam, eva me darshaya. So show me your normal form. Hey Devesha, hey Jagannivasa, hey Prasida. So you see, by saying all these Hey Devesha, Hey Jagannivasa, there's a certain amount of fear that you can sense in the shloka, and there's a request that please don't show me this very, very comprehensive image, because it's something that is frightening me, and I know I need to see your regular form. So again, a beautiful shloka as such, and one among the many beautiful shlokas that you have. Of course, we heard the chant. And coming to the next shloka, what do we have here? Mama idrik idam ghoram rupam drishtva te vyathama vimuda bhava chama. Vimuda bhava. So he is getting totally, there is, let there be no confusion in the mind, right? So now this is Lord Krishna talking that Mama, my idrik, this kind, idam, ghoram rupam, tremendous. Ghora is very, very comprehensive or terrible, so to speak. Drishtva te vyatha, let there be no. So he's trying to assuage the feelings of Krishna, of Arjuna, saying you don't have to be frightened. Tvam vyapeta bihi, casting away fear. Pritamana, have some liking for me. Tata eva idam rupam punah prapashya. So that you will not be frightened by this terrible form of mine, with this Vishwarupa of mine. I'm showing you my regular form, So you can see the translation. Thou should envisage this tremendous vision without pain, without confusion of mind, without any sinking of your members. Members means your body parts, should not become frightened. Cast away fear and let them not rejoice. Behold again this other form of mind. And finally, what Lord Krishna says is that yatha mam drishtvan masi evam vidhi aham na vede na tapasa na danena na chejya drishtum shakya. So this form that was revealed to Arjuna cannot be seen by knowing the Vedas, cannot be seen na tapasa, not by austerity, na danena, neither by gifts, na ijya, neither by sacrifice. So the question is, how will it be known? And that is there in the next chapter, next shloka. It says, Ananya Bhaktya Evam Vidhi. So only by bhakti, Evam Vidhi Aham, only then I can be known, Tatvena, through the principles, Drishtum, Jyatum Cha, Praveshtum. You will be able to enter into me. Shakya is, capable. So ultimately, this is the culmination of the entire Bhakti Yoga that we have between chapters 7 and 12. Of course, chapter 12 is to follow after this in terms of being a kind of summary of Bhakti Yoga. But we have here at the end of, this is the second last shloka of the 11 chapters, and therefore Lord Krishna very clearly says that he can be known not by so many things that we think will help us understand him, but even the tone and tenor of the chapter, as well as it being practical, demonstration of the knowledge of 7, 8, 9, and 10. 7, 8, 9, and 10 are full of bhakti, and therefore the conclusion is but logical that you need to have full bhakti to be able to understand even the chapter, as well as to ensure that you are able to move ahead with a degree of comfort, having known the Lord in his complete demonstration. So this is Sri Krishnarpanamastu, which indicates that you've completed the chapter. It is a chapter which is more of poetry, which is more of description. And there is actually, words fail you. You can't really explain the chapter. I have looked at n number of commentaries. Nobody explains the chapter. They simply, describe what has been mentioned in the shlokas in different words. So, you must chant the chapter, to get the feel of the chapter.
Out of 115 shlokas, what you have explained, Arjuna has spoken only once in this 115. भैया अब हम सरेंडर कर रहे हैं, तुम करो. तो एक तो है, और दूसरा एक मेरे को ये नहीं, अनुष्ठुप छंदा क्या होते हैं? What is अनुष्ठुप छंदा?
Anushtup Chanda is the regular shlokas that you have in the Bhagavad Gita. That is Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yutha. So Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yutha. This is first line. ठीक है?
Okay.
तो इसमें आपके 16 syllables हैं. Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, ऐसे if you count 16 syllables हैं. तो उसका उसके दूसरे लाइन में, क्योंकि श्लोक में 2 लाइन होते हैं ना, so both the lines are symmetrical. They have got 16 shlokas each. 16 syllables each. So 32 syllable का जो है उसको बोलते हैं अनुष्ठुप छंद. अब जो and जो आपका 11th chapter है उसमें if you see the print itself, you'll find that the shloka, the verses are longer. And that is because the first line has got 22 syllables instead of 16. So it has got 6 more syllables. And the second line also has got 6 more syllables. So totally, if you have 32, 32 plus 12 is 44 syllables.
Okay. Anushtupa, what is the meaning of Anushtupa? Means 16.
Anushtup means 32. Anushtup, that is the name of the that's the name of the meter.
Name of the meter. Meter means कितने, meter means उसका कितने गैप पर उसको प्रोनाउंस किया जा रहा है. There are multiple meters. Actually, वेदा में भी बहुत सारे meters है ना, तो वो गीता में भी जो meters है उनका नाम उसके हिसाब से, छंद का नाम जिस फ्लो के साथ उसको गाया जाना है, जो उसकी फ्रीक्वेंसी है और जो गैप्स हैं, सिलेबल्स बोल रहे हैं ना वो. हाँ, तो इसको मीटर बोलते हैं. इसके ऊपर काफी सारा डिस्कशन है नेट पर मीटर पर कि
अच्छा,
इंडियन
क्योंकि
ड्रग्स को कैसे प्रोनाउंस किया
सहस्त्र
जाए?
विष्णु, सहस्त्र विष्णु में भी, उसमें भी एक जगह आता है अनुष्टुप छंदा.
Yeah. So Anushtup Chanda is the most popular chand in which there is the poetic composition. क्योंकि जो आपका गद्य होता है, जो आपका पद्य होता है, जो आपका प्रोज होता है, प्रोज में क्या है? Language is even, but in poetry language has got emphasis. ना जैसे आपका वो क्या है?
यदा यदा ही धर्मस्य जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना, तो कितना वो भी इसी तरह का छंद है, यदा यदा ही धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत. तो ये हमारा पोएट्री है ना, उसमें गैप्स प्रॉपर्ली डिफाइंड है.
Yeah, so like you have in that very famous Hindi poem, no, खूब लड़ी मर्दानी थी वो झांसी वाली रानी थी. You can feel the rhythm. So मुझे याद है स्कूल से. So that is what you call. So the basic poetic rhythm is called. माने जो आपके syllables हैं, syllables में भी एक high syllable होता है, low syllable होता है. You understand, ना? So basically, it is the length of the verse.
ये रामचरितमानस भी अगर आप पढ़ें तो दोहे का एक छंद स्टाइल है, फिर सोरठे का ठीक उल्टा है, फिर चौपाई का एक स्टाइल है, फिर रामचरितमानस में छंद है तो छंद के अलग स्टाइल है. तो वो सबके प्रॉपर मीटर के नेम्स हैं.
That's why music director used to say make actions like this, up and down.
बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल दिया राजेश. वो छंद में जो मीटर है एक्चुअली वो म्यूजिक डायरेक्टर का ही एग्जाम्पल है. वो एग्जैक्टली मीटर, बट हमारे यहाँ मीटर की डेफिनेशन बहुत डिटेल्ड है.
हमारी लाइफ भी पहले प्रोज होती थी, अब वो हो जाती है गद्य हो जाती है. तो प्रोज पढ़ लेना चाहिए, राइट? तो अप एंड डाउन सर.
Okay. So what else?
मेरा एक थोड़ा प्रश्न है आपसे राज.
हाँ बोलिए.
ये इसमें जब आपने बताया कि ये मतलब ये रिक्वेस्ट अर्जुन की तरफ से गया कि भाई आप अपना विराट रूप दिखाओ, कॉस्मिक फॉर्म दिखाओ, तो ये बात अर्जुन के दिमाग में कहाँ से आई कि आप इनका कोई कॉस्मिक फॉर्म है? मतलब ये मेरे को उससे पहले कहीं डिस्कशन आया है क्या इसका?
No. So he does not say cosmic form दिखाओ. If you look at the first,
मतलब डिवाइन फॉर्म और इम्पेरिशेबल योरसेल्फ, ये वाली बात, इम्पेरिशेबल और डिवाइन फॉर्म की बात की गई जब अर्जुन ने रिक्वेस्ट किया 11.3 और 4 में.
So 11.1 and 2 actually I didn't put it there. So correct. As you have declared yourself, I long to see your divine form. That's all he says. As you declared of yourself that you are the divine Lord, but I long to see your divine form. दृष्टि रूपम ऐश्वरम, आपका ऐश्वर्य भरा रूप जो है मैं देखना चाहता हूँ. मन्य से, यदि आप सोचते हो कि पॉसिबल है तो मुझे दिखाओ. तो he doesn't say विश्व रूप दर्शन, he says simply आपका रूप देखना चाहता हूँ.
मतलब ये कैसे जिज्ञासा हुई? मतलब either he has a prior knowledge कि इनका कोई ऐसा फॉर्म है.
No, so he doesn't have any prior knowledge. All he says is that all that you have told about me see the first shloka when he says that he has that mad anugrahaya parma, aapke anugrah se maine kuch seekha. So that he refers to chapters 7 and 8. And then in shloka 2 when he says that you've explained to me a few things which are very true and something like that, then that he refers to chapter 9 and 10. So these, when we understand the contents of these chapters, then we come to shloka 3 where he says, I don't doubt all that you have said, but that for me is something that you told me. I want to see something. Rupam, because there, if you look at those chapters, in those chapters, there's a description of Krishna in terms of Vyakta, Avyakta, manifested, unmanifest, Purushottama, all that is there. So the context of the request is the contents of the 4 chapters before. But in the 4 chapters, it is like saying that the right example is that the various points on the perimeter have been described. And now what Arjuna is saying, please draw the perimeter for me. Please create the picture for me. So you have given me various points, which I don't disbelieve, and they are quite right, which is what he says in 3. But he says, Rupam Aishwaram. So it says that if you have given me too many pointers, then please put the pointers together and give me a picture. That's exactly what he says.
मैं कुछ उस तरह से कोरिलेट कर रहा था कि मुझे लगता है जब मैंने कहीं पर इसके बारे में कुछ प्रवचन सुना तो क्योंकि कृष्णा अपना विराट रूप अपने माउथ में यशोदा को दिखा चुके थे बचपन में, तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कृष्णा वाज ऑलरेडी एक्सेप्टेड एज ए गॉड, एज ए सुप्रीम पावर। जब वो तभी तो उन्होंने अपनी तरफ लिया था और आर्मी उस तरफ दे दिया था। तो मुझे लगता है कि शायद ये प्रायर नॉलेज मानी जाती थी कि कृष्णा इज गॉड, कृष्णा इज सुप्रीम।
So not only did he show his form to Yashoda, he also showed the form in the Hastinapur court, because Duryodhan and his colleagues had wanted to tie him up when he had come for that last dialogue regarding peace. And then he shows the Vishwarup there also. So there's a very, very interesting...
That you have mentioned also. That you have mentioned also somewhere.
Correct, correct. So he has actually... In fact,
मतलब ये तीसरा इंसिडेंस है, विश्वरूप का तीसरा इंसिडेंस है।
So in fact,
Raj, can I intervene?
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, my wife just updated me. She also listens to Gita. She says, till the 10th chapter, Arjuna had a feeling that Krishna was his friend. So, from the 9th, 10th chapter, he started realizing he is not just my sakha. He's something more than that. So, probably that is the reason why he wanted to see his real Swarup. That was one of the reasons.
You're correct. You're correct. So you see,
that is a gradual transformation of his thought process. Actually, when he started realizing that no, he's not something like my friend or shakha. He's something more than that, where I'm not able to realize him in a complete way. So maybe he needs to show us what he really is.
So in the sense that when he says very clearly that you are exactly what you say you are, which is what he says in the 3rd shloka. So what it means is all the shlokas that we have in the previous 4 chapters have led Arjuna to the conclusion that there is more to Krishna than even as described in the 4 chapters. Exactly. And therefore he says, it is only after so he does not know what to expect. All he says is connect the dots for me. You've given me too many dots. You've given me too many shlokas which say I am this, I am that. Mere se bada koi nahi hai, ye hai, wo hai. You've told me all kinds of... So in other words, he says, to use our own Allahabadi language, तुमने 4 chapters में बहुत गोली दिया है, अब सच्ची में बताओ क्या है. Correct. This is exactly the language. ये हूँ, वो हूँ, मेरे से कोई बढ़कर नहीं है, मैं mysterious हूँ, मैं ज्ञानी हूँ, मैं विज्ञानी हूँ, बहुत कुछ बोल दिया. Right. So now Arjuna says, I want to see. So I'm not making the request out of disbelief. I am making the request out of extreme belief that you have said everything right, but I want to understand for my own self what you have said in a better form.
This is a sort of challenge, that means. A sort of challenge to Krishna.
Not really, because this has been debated. So it is out of extreme faith in Krishna, not out of challenge. He says that, okay, you've given me all the points. I don't disbelieve them, because that is the key point that he makes in the 3rd shloka of the 11th chapter. I will read that again, because that is the key to the entire request. The key to the entire request is, you have told me a number of things, and let me read that chapter, that shloka. Evam etad yathatta. That is, evam, jo bhi etad, ye sab yathatta bola aapne, वैसे ही है. So it is, O divine Lord. But I long to see. आप जो कह रहे हैं, so it is that yes but phenomenon that we have, no? Yes, but I want to understand in a better way. I want to understand through your own practical demonstration. So he wants a demonstration, because the 7th chapter is Jnana and Vijnana, saying that you need to have a certain amount of knowledge and need to experience that knowledge. So in my own understanding of the verse, third, Arjuna wants to have his understanding, his personal understanding of all that are. It's like saying that Einstein's law of relativity is right, but if you actually are able to do an experiment and understand that, your belief in the law gets deepened. So in the same way, he wants a deeper understanding, and therefore he requests Krishna to actually demonstrate. Okay, so Rajesh.
Yeah, really delighted to see the grandeur of Krishna. Means this is the right culmination of the session. Means see the grandeur ki what he is replying. कभी कहते हैं ना सूरज को दिया दिखाना. That was I heard, but 1,000 suns is just the best scene if you can ever imagine. So it is an inspiration to get linked with the Gita and all, so that we can also get ease on something that. So this is the mindset. This is delighted. No question.
Absolutely wonderful. Any further questions from Sunil Rastogi?
No, nothing.
Correct. So you should actually read this 11th chapter. Read the translation or read the Sanskrit, whichever way you feel comfortable. It's very comfortable. Sunil ji, any other thoughts from your side?
मैं ना ये जो 1,000 सन्स वाली बात है ना, ये एक्चुअली मैं कृष्णा को हमेशा ऐसे इम्बाइब करता हूँ कि जब मैं ये सोचता हूँ कि कृष्णा हमारा ही जो इनर पावर है, इनर सुप्रीम है, उसकी बात अगर मैं मानता हूँ, मतलब जैसे हम लोग एग्जाम देने से पहले पढ़ाई करते हैं, तो जब लगता है काफी कुछ पढ़ लिया तो हम लोग ऐसे मजाक में कहा करते थे 1000 वाट का बल्ब जल गया अंदर. तो मुझे जैसे अंडरस्टैंडिंग आ गई, तो हम इस तरह से बात एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं कि जैसे 1000 सन्स, और गीता बहुत अच्छे वर्ड्स चुनती है उसके लिए कि 1000 सन्स और वो सब एक साथ उग गए, ये भी बात करती है कि एक साथ उगने की बात करती है. तो इसका मतलब एक हमारे अंदर हमें ये फीलिंग आती है कि अब हम कुछ जान रहे हैं, अब हम हमारे अंदर वास्तव में एक्शन लेने के लिए जो स्ट्रेंथ आती है वो उस 1000 सन की वजह से आ रही है, ये हम मान रहे हैं. क्योंकि एक्शन तो फाइनली ये पूरी गीता खत्म होने के बाद ही लेंगे अर्जुन, उससे पहले नहीं लेंगे. तो उसके बीच का प्रोसेस में उन्होंने विराट रूप में ये दिखा दिया है कि हमारे पास एज इफ वो इतनी सारी एनर्जी आ रही है, वो एनर्जी फॉर्म के थ्रू बताया गया है. और वो साथ में थोड़ा अर्जुन को डर भी लग गया है कि तो उसने वापस बाद में कहा है कि भैया अपने नॉर्मल फॉर्म में आ जाओ. और गीता जो है, ये बात गीता में साफ साफ बताई गई है कि भाई एक अनसीन फॉर्म कहा गया है, कि वो अनसीन फॉर्म देख के अर्जुन खुश तो हुआ है, बट उसको ये लगा है कि नहीं भाई अब ये इनफ इज इनफ, नाउ टाइम टू एक्ट. तो इसलिए उसको वापस नॉर्मल लाने के लिए खुद ही रिक्वेस्ट किया है. तो जैसे ऐसा होता है ना कि कभी हम अपने भी मन में जो है एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी एनर्जी महसूस करते हैं, पर अगर हम नॉर्मल में ना आए तो एक्शन नहीं लेंगे, वो एनर्जी ही महसूस करते रहेंगे. तो इसलिए वो वापस नॉर्मल लाया गया है, ताकि एनर्जी महसूस करने के बाद नॉर्मल आओ और वापस एक्शन की तरफ बढ़ो. तो इसलिए वो नॉर्मल की रिक्वेस्ट खुद ही अपने आप से रिक्वेस्ट की गई है एक तरह से. मेरे हिसाब से जो कृष्णा से रिक्वेस्ट है वो अपने सुपर पावर से रिक्वेस्ट की गई है. और फिर फाइनली ये कही दिया गया है कि भाई ये और किसी नॉलेज के तरीके से या रिचुअल्स के तरीके से, आप वेद का ज्ञान से या आप यज्ञ करके नहीं जान सकते हो. आप जो है फाइनली भक्ति मीन्स विदाउट आस्किंग क्वेश्चंस. मुझे ऐसा लगता है डिवोशन वो है जिसमें हम ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस नहीं पूछते हैं. जब हम सुप्रीम पावर की बात करते हैं तो जब आपको समझ में आ गया तो फर्दर क्वेश्चनिंग नहीं करनी है, एक्शन लेने का टाइम. तो इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि बाद में 11th चैप्टर के बाद फर्दर एक्शन लेने की बात की गई है, और कर्मयोग की काफी बातें 11th चैप्टर के बाद कही गई है, ऐसा मेरा मानना है.
So there is a very famous Surya Koti. 1 minute, I'll just Surya Koti Samaprabha Vakratunda Mahakaya. You must have heard this.
Yes. Surya Koti Samaprabha.
Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvata. So this whole concept of 1000 suns, Koti suns, crore suns, is very unusual, because it is something that you will not find in any other literature in the world. So to conceive of 1000 suns, you can just imagine that if you're living centuries ago, you would not actually know too much about the galaxies apart from your visual. See, all astronomy was visual. That's the amazing thing. The Surya Siddhanta was all visual, and all calculations made from visual observation of the skies. So with visual observation, to conceive of Surya Koti, Divi Surya Sahasrasya is unimaginable in terms of its depth of reality also, because we do know that when the red giant explodes and becomes a white dwarf, as we all know from modern astronomy, the entire star expands first to a red giant and then collapses. So in the moment of collapse, a lot of radiation, a lot of light, which perhaps is Surya Koti. So to conceive of Surya Koti or Divi Surya is just amazing. According to me, it is the depth of the entire matter. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share something very interesting with you. Let me just see whether I can show that. 1 minute. This is, of course, presentations. I'll just show you as of now my 1 minute. The way I'm planning to make the presentation for my paper, it's not yet come, it's just 3-4 slides through, but then you will understand the whole. One minute. Okay, so are you able to see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita is the epitome of Indian psychology vis-a-vis modern psychology. So the primary topics are the meta theory of human nature, Vaidhi, the Bhagavad Gita, and how Tilak, Aurobindo, and Gandhi demonstrated through their acquaintance and their deep study of the Gita, the basic tenets of Indian psychology. And secondary topics are, of course, Indian psychology versus Western psychology, and what Indian psychology can learn from Western psychology. So here I'm saying that there are many avatars of the Gita. So you have it as a Prasthanate. It is a religious classic. It is perennial philosophy. It has got a lot of scientific temporal principles, a lot of management and leadership of teams, organizations, nations, and psychological foundations of human nature. So thereafter, what I do is I'm looking at the flow of psychological principles, psychology study of the person. So the supporting shloka in English as well as in Sanskrit is there. The person is composed of consciousness, mind, and body. This is supporting shloka. Consciousness as such is irreducibly different from material objects. Achedyo yamadahyo, it cannot be cut. Unlike consciousness, the mind is physical, though subtle and subject to physical laws. So this is how my flow will be. And then I have about 7 slides. I have not yet completed it. 7 slides, which look at the psychological principles of human nature. And then I'll take up the study of Aurobindo and Tilak and Gandhi. So that's what I am planning. This is the paper that I was writing. So I thought I'll give you a preview of the entire matter. So that's where we are. So I just thought.
So what is the next plan?
Next plan is, of course, 27th, 26th, and 27th is when I have my seminar. So probably 29th. Let's see. I have, of course, the essentials of the Upanishads with me. So probably we will take up the Upanishads if you're okay with it, because Upanishads would be at least, you see, there are 10 Upanishads, and to my mind, you would need at least 1 to 2 sessions per Upanishad. Shorter ones like Isha Upanishad are just 18 shlokas. But then the discussion we have around them, it all depends upon how it, because I have never done I have read, of course, about and I've done a lot of reading, but I think it would be a first attempt to actually conduct a class on just the essentials of the Upanishads. So probably 29th, if I'm ready. If not, we will
और
take it
एक
up
तो
on-
राज आपने बोला था ना कि एक फाइनल सेशन कन्वर्जेंस का कुछ करेंगे जिसमें मतलब पूरा एंटायर जितना पढ़ा है उसका एक करेंगे, उसके बाद उपनिषद स्टार्ट करने की बात हुई थी ना, probably 29th or 30th
Oh,
को.
yeah. I think I forgot that, but that is going to call for a lot of work actually. So we will take it up on the 5th. So yes, you're right. I think when I was having a conversation with Sunil Rastogi, he had mentioned that we would take up what's there in each chapter, because like you saw what was there in the 11th chapter. I was planning to present summaries of each chapter, which can be done in about 1.5 hours. So we would do that. So probably I feel if I'm ready with it, we can do it on 29th. If I'm not ready, then we will take it up on 5th September, which is a good day because 5th September is
Teachers
Teachers'
Day. Right.
So hopefully 29th, but if I'm not able to put together, because I have to collect a lot of material to put it together. So I'll meet you again in terms of the concluding session of the Bhagavad Gita, bird's eye view of the chapters rather than themes, 29th or 5th. I'll keep you guys posted. In the meantime, I think I will get information on registration for this workshop from the organizers, which I'll share with you. And if you can join the workshop, it'll be great. Or at least you can join my session, it'll be better.
Yeah, your session will definitely join.
We will.
Whichever way, I'll see. As soon as
Back
I
up
can.
you.
Yeah. Okay, so on that count, so thank you so much. I think we have
Thank you.
completed a great
Thank
journey.
you. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank you.
So thanks a ton. Take care, and I'll catch you.